In order to give you an idea of what happens when a substance is heated, I want you to imagine taking an ice cube out of the freezer and putting it on the counter. Now we all know what's going to happen to this ice cube. It's going to melt. But let's think about what happens to the individual water molecules which make up this ice cube. Well, in order to melt, the first thing that has to happen is this ice cube must warm up. After all, the freezer it was sitting in is at a temperature well below the freezing point of water. So in order to be able to melt, the ice cube has to first warm up. What happens to the water molecules when this ice cube warms up? Well, let's take a look. Notice that the molecules are vibrating back and forth. Notice also that as time goes on and the ice cube warms up, they start vibrating faster and faster. That's what happens when solids warm up. Their molecules vibrate faster and faster. Eventually, the vibration gets so quick and so violent that the molecules can no longer stay together in this nice rigid arrangement. At that point, the ice cube begins to melt. Once the ice cube melts, we no longer call it ice, we call it water. And now let's look at the individual water molecules again. Notice that the water molecules are now moving freely. That's the big difference between solids and liquids. In solids, the molecules are held in a rigid arrangement and can only vibrate back and forth. In liquids, those molecules are free to move around. Notice that the water molecules are moving faster and faster. Why? The water's warming up. After all, the water was formed from an ice cube, so it's still pretty cold. Now it has to warm up, and as it warms up, the molecules move faster and faster. Eventually, the water molecules will move so fast that they'll pull far away from each other, and the water will become a gas.